Hello, dear colleagues. Good morning. Good morning, all. I just want to, with all my gratitude, to greet you and say warm words to Mr. President. Just with all my gratitude, I want to give the floor to the President of the Supreme Audit Office of Slovakia, Mr. Karol Mitrik.
Vážené dámy, vážení páni, ctení hostia, vážení účastníci.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and dear participants.
Je pre mňa veľkou radosťou a poctou, že vás si dovolím privítať na významnom podujatí venovanom kľúčovým národným ukazovateľom zastrešené pracovnou skupinou INTOSAI, ktorá bola vytvorená v roku 2007 na 10. kongrese INTOSAI v Mexico City.
With great pleasure and honor, I would like to welcome you at this important event devoted to key national indicators organized under the umbrella of the working group established in 2007 at the 19th INTOSAI Congress in Mexico City.
Aktivity najvyšších kontrolných inštitúcií v tejto oblasti majú preto mimoriadny význam a dopad.
The activities of this size in this area have extraordinary meaning and impact.
Som presvedčený o tom, že nadchádzajúce dni, ktoré tu spolu strávime, odborné vystúpenia, zdieľané skúsenosti a ďalšie inšpiratívne aktivity budú pridanou hodnotou a ďalším krokom na posilnenie spolupráce, ktorá je v kontrole kľúčových národných ukazovateľov mimoriadne dôležitá.
I'm convinced that the following days we are about to spend together, expert presentations, sharing the experience and other inspirational activities will add value and will be the next step to fortify our cooperation that is for the audit of the key national indicators extremely important.
Hlavným dokumentom pracovnej skupiny je Biela kniha o kľúčových národných ukazovateľoch. Cieľom Bielej knihy je vytvoriť spoločné prístupy, metodiky a štandardy pri hodnotení hospodárnosti, efektívnosti a účinnosti stratégie rozvoja našich krajín.
The main document by the key national indicators, by the working group, is the White Book on Key National Indicators. The book goal is to create common approaches, methodologies, and standards while assessing the economy efficiency and effectivity of the development of strategy of our countries.
Dôležité je pripomenúť, že tieto nástroje sú významné pri monitorovaní a hodnotení cieľov stratégie Európa 2020 a agendy OSN 2030.
It is important to refer to key national indicators' importance while monitoring and assessing the goals of the Strategy Europe 2020 and the UN Agenda 2030, meaning 17 SDG goals.
Známy je výrok Petra Druckera, amerického ekonóma rakúskeho pôvodu, ktorý hovorí, čo nemeriate, to neriadite.
One idea by Peter Drucker, renowned thinker in management theory, is well known. What is not measured is not managed.
Podľa ekonomických teórií však ide o mýtus. Správny je druhý výrok, čo nemeriate, to nemôžete riadiť. Áno, s jasne stanoveným meraním úspechu je možné kvantifikovať pokrok.
According to several economic theories, this is a myth. He supposedly said, what is not measured cannot be improved. Yes, with clearly established measurement of the success, it is possible to quantify the process.
Dovolte mi ešte pár slov o našom meste Bratislava, ktoré sa stane na pár dní dočasným vašim domovom.
I would like to spare a few words about our city that is becoming your temporary home for a few days.
Bratislava bola 267 rokov korunovačným mestom Uhorska. Kráľovskú korunu v nej prijalo 10 kráľov, 8 ich manželiek a 1 kráľovna.
Bratislava was for 267 years, from 1563 to 1830, the crown city of Hungary. 10 kings accepted the crown here, along 8 of their spouses and 1 queen.
V tomto období zažila Bratislava svoj najväčší rozmach. Korunovačný kostol, dom svätého Martina Bratislava, sa nachádza pár desiatok metrov od nás.
In that era, Bratislava recorded its greatest expansion. The crown cathedral of St. Martin's is only several dozens of meters from here.
Nad nami sa týči dominanta mesta Bratislavský hrad. Prvá zmienka o ňom je z roku 907.
The Bratislava Castle, the city landmark, towers over us. The first notice of it is from 907.
Najznámejšia panovnička Rakúsko-Uhorská Mária Terézia tu vládla počas 18. storočia. O hrad sa vzorne starala a vychovávala tu svojich 16 detí.
The most well-known Austro-Hungarian empress, Marie Therese, reigned here in 18th century. She tended very well for the castle, and she raised here her 16 children.
A tak by som mohol pokračovať aj ďalšími historickými pamiatkami a príbehmi, ale ako sa hovorí, lepšie raz je vidieť, ako 100-krát počuť. Neuveriteľné.
In addition, I could continue further with more and more history stories and monuments.
Preto verím, že napriek odbornému programu budete mať dosť času o všetkom sa presvedčiť osobne a nadýchať sa bratislavskej atmosféry, súčasnej i tej historickej.
I believe that despite rich expert agenda, you will find time to get convinced in person and inhale Bratislava air and atmosphere, that historical and contemporary.
Vážené dámy, vážení páni, týmto otváram dnešný odborný seminár a želám vám plodné rokovanie a množstvo užitočných informácií.
Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, I declare the seminar open, and I wish you fruitful discussions and a lot of useful information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your welcoming words. Dear colleagues, I'm happy to greet you at the 12th meeting of the working group, and I would like to express my gratitude to the Supreme Audit Office of Slovakia and Mr. President for an opportunity to hold the meeting here in Slovakia and for your hospitality. This meeting will be, I think, an important landmark for our group activity and hopefully promote a new, very important INTOSAI activity, promote the INTOSAI activity. During the previous 11 years, our group has done huge work that enabled us to develop the guidance on audit of the use of and develop of key national indicators, and we will be making references to this achievement multiple times today. I would like to extend my gratitude for all the work that has gone into organizing this meeting and to thank again the Supreme Audit Office of Slovakia for providing comprehensive support. For our agenda, we extend the meeting of the group to 2 days. Agenda is very intense, I should say tough and diverse. We have presentations of new members and an observer of the working group. we are happy to welcome SI of Belarus and SAI of Azerbaijan as new members of the group. Actually, we have already had a long-term cooperation within the framework of the expert group on key national indicators. And we are very glad to see AFROSAI-E as a new observer of the group. We also appreciate the participation of SAI of Czech Republic at the meeting as our guests, and we are really interested in the new news regarding benchmarking information exchange project that is going to be presented. The Secretariat will deliver progress reports on the guidance on audit of the use and development of key national indicators and on the guidance on the audit of macroeconomic forecasts, and also on INTOSAI preparation. At the end of the day, we will have a round table named Implementation and Implications of Key National Indicators in Slovakia and in EU Perspective. And tomorrow we will have national SAI presentations, a discussion on working group activities in the post-Congress period and on the plan for 2019. So we will try to make our communication more interactive. You are welcome to ask the speakers as many questions as you might have, and I believe that our meeting and the input we make will be truly beneficial to all of us, and the to all the INTOSAI community. Before we turn to the main points, please check that everyone has a copy of the agenda and program of the meeting, and please take a thorough look at them to see if there is anything you would like to add. If it's okay with the agenda, so I think, and with the order of the items, so we can proceed. You can see from the program that we have a lot to get through today, so let's get started. Now, as the first point of the agenda, I would like to report on the main activities of our working group over the last year, and I will be happy to answer your questions after my presentation. Me? Где переключалка? Давайте помогайте мне переключать. Будете? Ладно? У вас есть текст? Текст есть? Там написано, какие слайды. Нет, конечно. Ну ладно. Товарищ, вы тогда посмотрите в текст, ладно. Okay. Dear colleagues, today I would like to present the outcomes of the working group activities and of the period from March 2018 to April 2019. So let me briefly bring you the results of the 11th meeting of the working group in Italy in March 2018. At the meeting, the Brazilian SAI presented the results of this project, KNI Systems and Public Governance. The report provided insights into the TCU SDG project, which was to build capacities and develop methods and tools in order to prepare TCU for reviewing the implementation of the Agenda 2030 by the Brazilian government and possibly serve as a model for other institutions. Brazilian colleagues also presented the new project developed by TCU in partnership with the OECD. It's called Improving Decentralized Government Policies and Programs Through Outcome-Driven Auditing. It will be a 3-year project followed by a coordinated pilot audit that will use models developed under the project. The Working Group Secretariat made a progress report on the guidance on audit of the use and development of key national indicators and informed the group members on the project context and timeline. The Working Group Secretariat examined possible definitions of key national indicators and proposed the following wording for pronouncements and under development. So KNI is a set of indicators used by government in order to set objectives, monitor progress, and evaluate goals attainment, as well as to measure performance of the government activities, programs, policies, operations, and undertakings. The Working Group Secretariat emphasized the importance of testing the draft guide by Working Group members with different national settings in relevant audit engagements to ensure its universal applicability. In addition, the Working Group Secretariat reported on the progress on the guidance on audits of reliability of macroeconomic forecasts development. The 11th Working Group meeting included the first expert panels. If you remember, our guests were Mr. Giuseppe Pisauro, Chairman of the Italian Parliament Budget Office, and Mr. Enrico Giovannini, who is the full professor of Economic Statistics, Department of Economics and Finance, University of Rome, Tom Vergata, and they participated in the expert panels last year. It was really a very interesting discussion. If you remember, and we touched on the issues such like SDGs and what is the role of the group, what will be the new agenda, and what are the place of the working group in all these activities. So the next part of the meeting was devoted to the 23rd INTOSAI theme 2, which is called the role of the SIs in the achievement of the national priorities and goals. And the structure and the progress on theme 2 principal paper were presented to the working group members. You remember we were drawing something on the whiteboard, discussing the structure of the principal paper. So now it's ready, and now it's moving. We are moving to the discussion paper, preparing the discussion paper, and there will be a separate talk today about this document. Now I would like to focus on the overall results of the working group's activities over the past year. First of all, I'm happy to inform the members of the working group about the increase in membership. We welcome the SAI of Azerbaijan, Belarus, and Kuwait as new working group members, and the African Organization of English-Speaking Supreme Audit Institutions as observer. The interim report on the working group's activity was presented at the 10th INTOSAI KSC Steering Committee meeting. The development of the guides on the audit of the use and development of key national indicators and the guidance on the audit of reliability of macroeconomic forecasts was once again stated as the main direction of the working group activity in 2019. The preliminary draft of the guidance on audit of the use of key national indicators was distributed among the group members for comments in July 2018. Comments of AFROSAI-E, SAI of Austria, SAI of Bulgaria, SAIs of Slovakia and Pakistan were received and considered. In accordance with the quality assurance process outlined in the project proposal, our working group considered comments from the FIPP liaison, the Compliance Audit Subcommittee, the Performance Audit Subcommittee, and the INTOSAI Working Group on Program Evaluation before submitting the exposure draft to FIPP for approval. As set forth by the due process for INTOSAI framework of professional pronouncements, the exposure draft was approved by the Forum for INTOSAI professional pronouncements in November 2018. On December 27th last year, the exposure draft of the guide was posted at the isai.org website for public exposure. The exposure period expired on March 27th this year, and the Working Group Secretariat has prepared a short presentation on progress on the draft of the guide. A bit later we will give the floor to my colleague Anton Kasyanenko. The working group also continued developing the guidance on audits of reliability of macroeconomic forecasts. The guidance on audit of reliability of macroeconomic forecasts is being prepared in accordance with the joint paper by INTOSAI goals chairs and the INTOSAI development initiative. It's called Quality Assuring INTOSAI Public Goods that are developed and published outside the due process. And the quality level of the guidance is supposed to be QA1, which implies that the quality assurance will be comparable to INTOSAI due process and include a period of transparent public exposure. The working group secretariat has prepared the drafts of the guidance, which we will discuss later after the presentation. Now I would like to say a few words about the regional aspects of the working group activities. Along with the meeting of the working group, the 11th meeting of the expert group on KNI was held. The meeting of the Council of Heads of Supreme Audit Institutions of CIS countries on September the 5th, 2018, decided to discontinue the expert group's activity and to incorporate it into the working group activities. So the working group maintains working relationship with the OECD in order to promote the experience sharing in the sphere of KNI using for measuring the socio-economic progress of the countries. In particular, the chairman of the Council Chamber of the Russian Federation, Mr. Alexei Kudrin, met with the Secretary General of the OECD, Mr. Angel Guria, and the Director of OECD Public Governance Directorate, Marcus Banturi, on the sidelines of the OECD Anti-Corruption and Integrity Forum on March 20 this year. The working meeting focused on deepening ties between INTOSAI and the OECD and developing a relevant agreement that would define the main principles and goals of bilateral cooperation. It also opened the debate on possible ways of increasing the role of SAIs in assisting governments in achieving national goals and ensuring good governance. In conclusion, I would like to propose the main directions for the working group activities in 2019. So first, it's concluding the development of the guidance on audit of the use and development of key national indicators. Then it's concluding the development of the guidance on audit of reliability of macroeconomic forecasts. Then we're going to promote our INTOSAI OECD cooperation and also decide on the future of the working group, its goals and directions, and maybe its transformation. So I'm pleased to inform, dear colleagues, that the SAI of Belarus proposed to hold the next 13th meeting of the working group in this wonderful, welcoming country. Thank you for your active participation in the working group, and we still have a lot of work to do, and I wish us all success. Thank you very much. So it was the report about our activity. If you have questions, so please don't hesitate to ask me. And if you don't, so we can proceed with our agenda. And so there will be a lot of reports from new members of the group, from a new observer. So we'll have time to discuss all the issues. And if you forget something to ask, so you will have time to ask later, maybe. Next question, next item, article of our agenda. I'm honored to introduce the new observer of the working group, the AFROSAI-E. I could mistake with your name, but I'm sorry. So, Ms. Ndaba Nonhlanhla, am I right? Yeah. Okay. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. As AFROSAI-E, we're currently working on a public financial management reporting framework, and this work has been done with great of help from GIZ, which we are working closely with. So if you have any questions, both of us are available to answer. Okay. Okay. For us, we took a role to say, how can we look at achieving the SDG goals? And we took to say, us measuring performance financial management reporting framework, can I just say PFM, would be a better solution for our region. So when we look at SDGs, we know that SDGs, for you to be able to implement them, you need monetary resources to be available for you to do this. And us constantly increasing taxes was not a way to be able to achieve this goal. So we had to look, how can we efficiently use our resources that we have currently available? So at AFROSAI-E Governing Board in 2017, we came up with a resolution to do a tool onto how to measure our SDG goals. Then the public financial reporting framework was born to say, we need a tool, like when you're looking at your country as a whole, how can you be able to measure your performance, looking at the information that you have available already, and for you to be able to identify areas where you are having challenges with, and how can you go about to fix those areas. Then the PFM system looks at the cycle as a whole. Normally, as auditors, we're only concerned about the monetary value, the budget process, was it approved or not, or the preparation, but we don't look at the whole process. And we said, okay, fine. We need to look at the microeconomic that goes into preparing our SDG goals, the budget preparation, the budget approval, and the financial management and services. And as auditors, most probably we come to the end goal where we say we look at the oversight at the accounting reporting framework that is in place. Then we said, when you're looking at this, we did not have a tool that was looking holistically at the PFM, and the compliance was normally, say, it's not institutionalized, so we had to look at, say, institutional level up to the country level to see how things are working. And we only not just look at the budget, we look at the budgetary assumptions that were used to draw up our SDGs, our National Development Plan. Then, obviously, we did not have a common reporting, a common report that was available for us to be able to draw up conclusive findings that we're finding, and to make recommendation on how to improve, and on how far are we in achieving our SDG goals. So then the PFM reporting framework, it does all this for us. And it also enables us to engage with our auditees at auditee level, because everything builds up from auditee level up to a national level. Wait, oh, it's here. Okay. Then the benefits of this framework, it has been translated into Portuguese. It's a user-friendly framework which is able to integrate our findings at country level and make recommendations and assess the status of progress of the SDG goals. And most importantly, it's able to talk directly to policymakers, to enable them to find solutions and to have a sustainable nature. Our challenges so far, within our region, there's been a slow uptake onto the PFM reporting framework. The challenge is that it's supposed to be done on an annual basis, and normally auditors are finding it a bit difficult to integrate into their annual audit. And as well, because certain areas of auditors, they do not audit. So it poses a challenge on how to get information on the areas that is not audited by the auditors. So currently, we've done pilot audits in the foreign countries, and on site Brazil and site Portugal, they're currently on a reporting phase, which they've got draft reports out currently. And our future plans are for us, the PFM is going to be discussed at the UN by our Auditor General from Kenya. Then thank you. Any questions?
Thank you so much for an interesting report. And I think, yes, if we have questions, we can ask, or we can ask in a coffee break, because it's an interesting agenda that you presented, and I think could be a lot of information about pilots within the AFROSAI-E activities. So we are waiting for some results, I think in a year, so it'll be interesting to know about these results next meeting, and maybe you will make a presentation about this next year. So if nobody has questions, I will go to the next item of our agenda. And we also today welcome the SI of Azerbaijan and SI of Belarus, and as new members of the working group, and I give the floor to Mr. Zaur Valiyev with his presentation. Welcome.
Dear Chairman, dear President, dear colleagues, thanks for invitation. I would like to introduce you my presentation. On the first slide, you can see the capital of Azerbaijan is one of the most beautiful and extraordinary cities in the world. This is the Azerbaijan area and our neighbors, Russia, Georgia, Armenia, Iran, in the Caspian Sea. Now my presentation. This is the construct of my presentation, key national indicators, fiscal diagnostic tools, and the conclusion. Okay, first of all, how we use the key national indicators. You know that 4 countries of the CIS, they prepare a budget execution report and the report about the render opinion on state budget law. So the analyzing the key national indicators, this is the need for us because we use it for prepare 2 main reports, the budget execution report and the report about the render opinion state budget law. How we use it? First of all, we analyzing the world economy, analyzing the political economical risks, analyzing the using the traditional macroeconomic structure, analyzing the real fiscal monetary sector, and try to determine the main macro fiscal risks, because the main report for Supreme Audit Institution is the budget report. So the INTOSAI standards introduce that we have the disclosure and analyzing the risks, not only fiscal risks and all of the macro fiscal risks. And for the real sector, this is the we using the GDP by expenditure, oil price, fiscal sustainability, monetary and external sector. Which methodology we use to main the approach, the INTOSAI 5430, the most popular matrix, the fiscal risks matrix or the BRICS matrix. You can see it down some of the IMF guidelines. The next, defining macro fiscal risks, it is the IMF approach, general economical, specific fiscal risks, and institutional. For how we use it, we use the GDP by expenditure and GDP by production method. Try to determine some of the relationship between the system of national accounts and the GFS, government finance statistics, the main standards. Why we try to use it? Because the predictability of the budget forecasting and the macroeconomic forecasting is needed for us, so we have to determine the relationship between these sectors and analyzing GDP per capita, CPI, investment. Okay, maybe you know, some elements, main objectives of the PFM. My colleague told about the public financial management system, and is one of the main objectives is the macroeconomic stabilization. And the main problem before the macroeconomic stabilization, the ensure fiscal sustainability. For the ensure fiscal sustainability, we need achieving fiscal discipline. For the fiscal discipline, we need the fiscal institutions. If you use the traditional the classification of fiscal institutions, this is the fiscal rules, fiscal law, and the fiscal council is the independence of fiscal agency. Which types analyzing the Supreme Audit Institution, you can see the 5 types of the fiscal sustainability. And the 3 of them is the need for Azerbaijan. You know, Azerbaijan, the resource-rich country, is one of the 47 resource-rich countries in the world. So we analyzing the non-oil, the fiscal deficit, some oil indicators, besides them analyzing the sustainability indicators, and our colleagues analyzing the pension system sustainability too. On the next slide, you can see the some figure. I don't want to tell all of these indicators because it's a comprehensive information, but we use some criterias using some methodology. On the next slide, you can see the methodology, which methodology we use, 3 types. First of them is the INTOSAI standards. And the second is the INTOSAI working group, the K national indicators methodology. We use it in the white paper and the guidance. This is on the development of K national indicators. And the IMF and World Bank, some manuals, guides, and the papers. On the next slide, I will tell about the fiscal diagnostic tools. What does it mean, fiscal diagnostic tools? So this is the can they give the more information about for the determine the strengths and weaknesses of the public financial management system. And in the world, knows the 45 the diagnostic tools. 2 of them is the need for, as a rule, Supreme Audit Institution activity. First of all, the PEFA is a tool for assessing the status of public financial management using evidence-based approach, and try to contribute to achievement desirable budget outcomes, aggregate fiscal discipline, strategic allocation of resources, and efficient service delivery. 3 indicators. This is not the last methodology. This is the final assessment for Azerbaijan 2014. And 3 indicators, the need for the activity of Supreme Audit Institution, scope, nature, and the follow-up of external audit, legislative scrutiny of the annual budget law, and the legislative scrutiny of external audit reports. On the first, this is the performance indicators. So position is not good because we are not cover not more than 50% of the budget expenditures. Second indicators, the clear evidence of review the fiscal policies aggregates. And the final, this is the legislative scrutiny of external audit reports. The information is available. It's the more transparency and accountability for Supreme Audit Institution. The next slide is the Open Budget Index. This is the famous the transparency tool and independent comparative measure of central government budget transparency, and using the 8K budget documents. Is one of them is audit reports using the best practice. For the Azerbaijan, is the legislative and Supreme Audit Institution to provide adequate oversight. And this is the main conclusion under the law. It has the full discretion to undertake audits as it sees fit. And you can see the indicators, 83 point. This is the adequate out of the 100%. On the next slide, you can see the compare other indicators with other countries, and Azerbaijan, Russia, some of the Moldova, and Georgia, Croatia, some of the Hungary has a good position. We try to use this experience for transparency, and there's introduce how we can improve the budget oversight, ensure the legislative committee examines and publish report on the audit report online. And this is the main targets for improved budget oversight. They're using the conclusions, OB and the PEFA, and why use the performance cultures on the result-oriented budget, but some countries, they're understanding the K national indicators as the elements of the performance audit. So I wrote about the performance audit and the performance budgeting. And this is again the capital. Thanks for your attention. Okay.
Thank you, Zaur. And I have a question. You mentioned the analysis of macroeconomic and situation and all these things about macroeconomy. And is it just each year work of your SAI, or it was made once for the Open Budget Index or something, or PIFA? Is it each year activity? I mean, this macroeconomic analysis.
As a rule, is not only for the macroeconomic situation, because they're using the K budget documents. Only one of them is the need for the audit reports. And I know the Russian Federation has some government, and there's some elements of this OB and the use for the achieving. But in our case, there's some indicators. The 6th question out of the 102 is the need for the Suprema for achieving for understanding the performance of Supreme Audit Institution, and the first of them for the which information you you publishing on your website, and for example other information how you undercover the budget expenditures, and which types of the some audits you have some provide. Our good position, reporting putting all of the reports and the comprehensive reports on our website, and using that indicators. That's the performance index. Not all of for example, not all of information is you have to available on the website, because all of them that you have to use for understanding for the cooperation the society. But the main problem for us now that we have not covered not more than 50% of the budget, covering the budget expenditures, using the audit institution. The main problem for us and now only these indicators. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I think if anybody has questions to our, welcome.
I would like to ask you why you said that the audit reports should be published by the Parliament and not by the SAI institution.
Which reports?
From the budget audit.
We put it on our website. Yeah. And
after the publication by the Parliament or late?
No, until the Parliament. Till the Parliament does not publishing it. We do the publishing it.
Okay.
Thank you, and we continue. And now it's truly delightful to see the SI of.
Can I ask?
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're welcome.
That you publish in the website that everybody can see the audit report.
Yes, of course. Of course, it's open available for society. Everybody can see. Yeah.
And I'm sorry for such a question. Is it translated to English, or just it's in Azerbaijani?
No, in Azerbaijan.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you again. And now, that's truly delightful to see the SI of Belarus among our group members, and I am glad to give the floor to Mr. Sanko Dmitry.
На русском.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it will be the translation, so we... Да?
Уважаемые участники семинара, дамы и господа, коллеги. Прежде всего, позвольте выразить благодарность организаторам 12-го заседания рабочей группы INTOSAI за КНП, за оказанное гостеприимство, благоприятную атмосферу доверия и взаимопонимания, а также создание мощной интеллектуальной площадки для обсуждения ключевых вопросов в области аудита и взаимного обмена опытом и идеями. Комитет государственного контроля является высшим органом финансового контроля Беларуси и подотчетен президенту Республики Беларусь. Статус и компетенция комитета определены Конституцией
and also in the legislation of the Belarus Republic. The committee is headed by the chairman, and the chairman shall be appointed by the president of the country. Also, the chairman has 4 deputies. One of them is the head of the Department of the Financial Investigation. They are also appointed by the president of the country. The main tasks of the committee, you can see there on the slide. So first is to ensure the economic security of the Republic of Belarus, the control over the budget execution of the state property, also the control over the president tasks being executed in a correct way. Also, we need to foresee and stop the violation in the economic sphere. Also, we need to take the decisions and take measures for stop the legalization of the money laundering and the criminal revenue, also financing of terrorism. And also to give the weapon of mass destruction, proliferation of the vessels of mass destruction. System of the Committee of State Control consists of central, main department is the civil parts. Civil parties are controllers, people who do the control. Also the law enforcement bodies, Department of the Financial Investigation, financial investigators, financial monitoring. The territory bodies of the committees are. The civil part of the committee was formed by the industry. So, for example, is one of the departments is dealing with the control about the fiscal sphere. So, also the word about working with the material industry. Also, they work with the agriculture and environmental complex, banking system, the market of consumer goods and the service sphere, and some of other departments. The Committee of State Control now, by the legislation, is given quite wide power. Like, for example, they can make the control over, including they can make the examinations and checkups, financial monitoring, the administration procedural activity, operational investigative activity, and criminal procedural activity. So the way how we do this control, this analytical activities is the following. So the committee shall first study the problem, and then it can go to three directions, and the directions are mixed to each other. So first is the operational activities from the side of the Financial Investigative Department. Then is the information support by the Department of the Financial Monitoring. The check of the papers by the other departments of the committee. So there we provide the finish of the cycle of the event that we are doing. So, for example, we need to find the violation of the crimes in economical sphere and up to we find the people who are responsible for that and we punish those people. So the main ways how to foresee the economic violations and crimes you can see on the slide. The most important priority for us is the quality of the control. In our republic now, we have a continuous work how we can make the control better, and also how to make the burden lower in the economical area. One of the functions of the committee is a coordination of every checkups and investigations made in the country. By the committee also we have the sub-institutional committee or council regarding that activity, and which is chaired by the chairman. The main task is to analyze the condition of the auditing activity in the Republic, and to develop the offers how to increase efficiency.
The state control of the Republic makes INTOSAI, AFROSAI. So it is a participation in the Work International Organization, EAG, Egmont Group, and the Euro-Asian Group on combating money laundering and financing of terrorism. And also the committee participates in the work of the profile organization of CIS. It is the Council of Heads of Financial Intelligence Units and Coordination Council of subdivisions of investigation. And the existing structure and powers of the committee allow for operative prevention of negative consequences and to ensure the insurance and defense of economic interests. As regards the system of KNP, in our country it includes the following: long-term prospects, a national strategy of sustainable development by 2030, mid-term prospects, the program of social and economic development for 2016, and short-term, it's a yearly annual forecast of social economic development. And the development is ensured by the government, and the program of annual program are approved by the President of the Republic of Belarus, and also upon President's decree, a quartal matrix is developed, which is personified in a sort of personified tasks for specific units, start from the Prime Minister, his deputies, the chair of the National Bank, up to the heads of sectoral ministries and state authorities on the particular spots, on spot. The committee, together with the National Statistical Office or Committee, they analyze the reliability of the information provided. Dear colleagues, I'm deeply convinced that the supreme audit bodies, based on the mutually advantageous cooperation, are able to make its input in the achievement of the goal, directed on the further development and good welfare of our countries and nations. Thank you for your attention.
Я задам его по-английски вопрос. Sorry. I have a question about the national strategy, if I understand right, the idea of several levels of strategic planning in the country. So, national strategy for 2030, is it adopted by the President or the Parliament? I mean, the document, by whom is it adopted?
Правительством принято.
Okay. And these metrics, you mentioned matrica, this metrics, is it an official thing, or it's just something to control the government. So is it a document?
Значит, президент утверждает годовой прогноз
President approves
развития.
annual forecast, the annual forecast,
И вот этот годовой прогноз
and this annual forecast
разбивается по кварталам.
is broken down into quarter years.
И когда президент
And when the president asked the government how the economy worked,
ему на стол кладется вот это,
he is given this matrix,
где цветом выделяются
and by colors, by green color, he can see the achieved
визуализация работы.
indicators, and the red are non-achieved. So this visualization works well. It's like traffic lights. Спасибо.
I have two questions. The first, you said that you supervise the budget execution. What it means in practice? And the second question is, how you understand the border between monitoring and supervising the budget execution? Because you used these two terms. They are different. Thank you.
Не очень понял. Что касается бюджета, то мы сочетаем, в принципе, традиционные функции счетной палаты. Предварительный и последующий контроль.
So we use two. We use a preliminary control of the budget execution, and there is a traditional chamber of accounts, in a way, in that understanding.
Questions? So, okay, yeah.
Okay. I have just a question.
У меня
I
есть
would like to know
вопрос.
how the
Я бы
members
хотел...
of the State Control Committee are selected or nominated. Thank you.
Председатель из его заместителей главой государства.
The chairman will use the deputies with the help of the president. So actually, president will appoint people who will be the chairman of the account of chambers and his deputies. Can I ask a question? What, maybe giving a couple of examples with which of the indicators you use, because you were talking about when you give them the quarterly report to the president, and then you tell them which indicators were achieved and which were not. So can you please give us a couple of names? Which indicators do you use? So for example, we have an indicator of the number the president set as a goal. That every year we need to create 50,000 of the working places. Every year. So there is a task now is given to the government. And the government is busy doing that, but it gives and tells us how many working places were created already. The committee, using the powers, have a look and see, and the committee would see what exactly the working places are them. And what is how much the information is true and up to date. And is it really... Do we really have working places? And if, for example, it's not possible to call that working place a working place, under the recommendation of the committee, it will be excluded from the statistics. So it should all be real. Thanks.
I'm curious about the activity of the committee that you said before about the criminal punishment activity. What kind of activity is that? Because in our office, we don't have any criminal punishment activity. Thank you.
We have
the special legislative part of the financial investigation department. And there are people who are wearing the military forms or police forms, uniforms, and they can work as a policeman, so they have powers. For example, to start the criminal procedure. For example, if you don't pay taxes. Also, for example, we want to fight with the people who are not doing really entrepreneurial activities, or some other articles that fall under the criminal code of Republic of Belarus, and then it falls under the financial institutions. So it's approximately 20 items or articles from the criminal code. So those people, they will be checked. People who we think that they're guilty, and if while the examination we have a reason to start the criminal procedure, we will. Спасибо.
More questions? Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Sanko, and I think we now we are moving on, and the next points, of our agenda is the presentation on benchmarking information exchange project, and these news by our guests from Supreme Audit Institutions, Supreme Audit Office of Czech Republic. Welcome.
Thank you.
Ms. Domanská, Radka.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Radka Domanská, and I am an auditor in Supreme Audit Office in Czech Republic, and also BIP coordinator. The topic of my talk today is benchmarking information exchange project, and I know that Jana Juriová from Slovakia presented this project last year. So I don't want to repeat what you have already heard. I will accent the progress in this project and topics that are currently being worked on. So, first of all, I would like to emphasize why Supreme Audit Institutions perform international comparisons. Our experience shows that the added value of international cooperation is to gain new perspectives on a research problem, and moreover it's open up the possibility to define audit recommendations, especially if a good practice is identified. In addition, SAI can display better feedback to both citizens and public budget administrators. And last but not least, the need of international cooperation is determined by international standards. That's why Supreme Audit Office of Czech Republic has initiated BIP, which is a tool for international comparison. Thanks to BIP, it's much easier to share data and information internationally and share also experience between SAIs. Here you can remind what BIP is about. BIP allows for an easy and flexible cooperation, and as a result of this cooperation between SAIs, comparisons can be made in any area. Using the benchmarking method, SAI can also identify a good practice and differences between countries. This tool can be helpful also in the process of setting audit criteria, because Supreme Audit Institutions can use others' experience and also areas of comparison for their inspiration. You may ask what is shared within BIP. It is not only your audit experience, but also data from various systems and publicly available information from national sources. The aim of BIP is to compare systems and key performance indicators, and comparison proposals, methodologies, and BIP results are shared within BIP, and every SAI can participate in it and use the results. Let's review the 5 basic principles of BIP cooperation. I have already described point 1, 2, and 3 that every SAI can join BIP and participate in each topic. And on the basis of Principle 4, the results and other documents are shared in one place called BIP portal, which we'll see in the moment. But before we proceed, I would like to mention the most important point, number 5, which says that before external publication of BIP results, it means outside the BIP portal, each SAI needs the approval of all participating SAIs. So it means that BIP portal is a secure platform where you can share your ideas and experience, and you also can control which information will be published. So BIP portal is a new IT platform for data sharing. Up until today, we were using Extranet, which was based on Microsoft SharePoint platform. However, in a few weeks, we will inform all participants that new platform is up and coming. Currently, BIP contains 90 users from 33 countries, and every SAI can join BIP. The comparison and cooperation is at the performance level. It means that it is cooperation between auditors who have deep knowledge of the topics. Currently, BIP contains of 15 topics, or about 15 topics, and each user can share documents and ideas in discussions forum. And now let's take a look to the BIP portal. So you can find this portal on the web page bip.nku.cz. So Stefan, please, could you try it and show us the BIP portal? Yes, thank you. So this is the public page of the BIP portal, and here you can find the information about BIP, some public information where are topics and also publicly available documents. And there is also how to join BIP. So Stefan, please click on how to join. Yes, and there is information how to join BIP. And if you are not the user of BIP portal, you should click on register, and there you should fill in some information and about you. And then we create an account, and after the approval of the administrator of BIP portal, you will gain the information by email. So Stefan, please, could you sign in to the BIP portal? Because to view the non-public part, you have to sign in. Okay, we have some trouble. Okay, after login, you will see the non-public part of the BIP portal, and there are some information about news. For example, in news there is information about this meeting, that in this meeting you can join BIP and meet the BIP members. There are also information, yes, here is the information about presentation on your working group. And if you go to topics, you can see that there are many topics. And for example, Stefan, please click to the first one, preparedness for implementation of SDG, which is topic of SAI Slovakia. And you can see that in each topic there is a description of the topics, and there are also some associated documents. And below that there is also the discussion there where you can share your ideas. And Jana Juriova mentioned that they conducted the audit, and I also contribute something. So you can also reply anything you want and upload any other documents. So thank you, Stefan, for this. And back to the presentation. Beep portal is based on Microsoft Library platform, which was, as you can see, more functional and more user-friendly than previous one, which was based on Microsoft SharePoint platform. So I think that it's quite easy to join and share documents and ideas. So now let's move on to the topics. So as I mentioned before, currently BEEP contains about 15 topics. I can divide these topics into 3 categories. There are 4 topics with concrete results, such as immovable property, centralized public procurement, social housing, and preparedness for implementation of SDGs. In the next 5 topics, questionnaires have been conducted and evaluated, as for example, digital education or crime prevention. And there are also many other topics which are in the preparation phase, and possibilities of comparisons are being discussed nowadays. So now let me introduce 2 specific topics, SDG implementation and air pollution. The topic of the preparedness for implementation of SDGs is example of the comparison at the strategic level. It means comparisons of systems between Slovakia and Czech Republic. Slovakia conducted a performance audit of preparedness for implementation of SDGs, and they cooperated with us even though we didn't perform a similar audit. We use only the publicly available information, which is available only in Czech. And as you can see, this is one of the results of the comparison. It's something like a semaphore where are some processes, and you can see that at which level is Czech Republic and Slovakia. But I don't want to describe audit results in detail because Jana Juriova from Slovak Republic will have presentation tomorrow, so I will go to another example. Another example is the topic of air pollution. And my colleagues from Czech Republic perform an audit of air quality improvements and identified that Czech Republic might not meet the objective of reducing fine particle exposure. This should be monitored via an average exposure indicator, and it is obvious that the method of indicator calculation influences the results. Following the audit results, we decided to open topic in BEEP and to find out how this indicator is calculated in different countries and if calculated values are comparable. So in this topic, we don't set up a new key performance indicator. We use a publicly available indicator and discuss the methods of calculation of this indicator in order to verify the comparability of indicators. And to accomplish this, we plan to use audit experience of different SAIs. So this brings me to the last part of my talk, synergy between your working group and the BEEP. And your working group strives to facilitate information and knowledge sharing among SAIs and to promote an increase of efficiency, transparency, and public trust. You may agree with me when I say that this can be achieved through international comparisons. Because, as I said in the beginning of my talk, through international comparison, SAI can identify a good practice, and it could be also useful in the process of setting of audit criteria. So BEEP is one of the tools which can help to worldwide communication, cooperation, and comparisons. And it could provide inspiration also in the process of setting, measuring, and evaluating of key national indicators. Because of that, we suggested to add BEEP and other tools in the guidance on audit of use and development of key national indicators. And I really appreciate your initiative in preparing this guidance, and I think that it is very useful for auditors. So here you can see the criteria structure, which is mentioned in your guidance in the part 6. And there are identified some maturity levels for each category. And I think that this is one thing that could be compared between countries. I hope you feel motivated to use maturity models and share your audit experience in the use and development on key national indicators. Here I would like to remind you that BEEP could be a great tool for discussions and sharing results. So this brings me to the end of my presentation. So last thing, what I would like to say, that BEEP contributes to easy communication, better cooperation, which leads to more comparisons. And I would like to invite you to join BEEP. And we are here for today, so if you have any questions or you would like to help with anything, just contact us and we will be happy to cooperate. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Radka. And we have questions. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I have a couple of questions. One is connected with your slide 4, when you mentioned the when you mentioned the comparison of proposals at the operational level using the KPIs. And actually I simply wanted to emphasize this place because at first when we were getting acquainted with BEEP, it was understood that actually it was about comparison of expenditure conducted to achieve similar goals. But what you are telling now, and what actually it was a question, but it transferred into a comment during your presentation, because what you are mentioning now on slide 10 and so on, is that not only the amount of expenditure can be monitored and shared through BEEP, but also the ideas about the indicators used and whether the indicators are good or not. And actually it brings us to the point of the group, and so thank you very much for bringing it out, and correct me if probably maybe I understood you not well, but
yeah, you have right. It's absolutely true that there are no limits for areas of comparison in BEEP, and it's up to you if you want to share concrete key performance indicators and calculate values in each country, or if you would like to compare the methods of calculation, or if you would like to compare areas of system, or for example system, how is set the use and development of key national indicators in each country. So it depends to you.
And if you mentioned our 6 levels of 6 group of questions, are there any examples already on the BEEP regarding any one of them?
I think that these categories could be useful because, for example, in the topic of immovable property, we have a comparison of the system at the system level, and we compare how it is. Sorry, Stefan, could you go back to the presentation? There is, for example, what about the legal framework, and if there are some indicators, and we compare the things in the topic of immovable property, like that if there are set up goals to the area of immovable property, or it is monitored and evaluated they monitor or evaluate these indicators. So there are some comparison at the system level, but it is about national indicators. So it's up to you what you will compare and discuss in this platform. This is only the platform where you can share anything and discuss, and it could be useful.
Okay, thank you. And one last question is, when you mentioning 90 users from 33 countries, it means that there are 90 individual auditors assessing this?
There are 90 individual persons, not only auditors, but also some, for example, members of relation departments or a person.
Thank you. Yeah, Elizabeth.
Thank you very much for your interesting presentation. I'm wondering if I understood you right, you have only countries who are participating and not OECD or UN organizations. And I'm wondering about the relationship between the UN SDG indicators, which are already existing, or the OECD indicators. Are they integrated there, or do you use them for your cooperation on the indicators?
Okay, to your first questions about countries, we cooperate also, for example, with European Courts of Auditors, who perform audits in many countries. So there's not only 4 countries, but also other institutions who want to join us or join BEEP. And to other question, it was it was about SDGs. Yes. So we there are some here. There are some topics, and we think that some topics are related to some SDG, but it could be also the new topic of, for example, the preparedness for implementation of SDG of one of the topic, or for example, air pollution is a topic which could be very close to one of the SDGs about quality of environment. So I think that many of topics are quite close to some indicate SDG goals, but we don't use that it is SDG goal or not. It is not very important to say if it is or not. You can share it. Yeah, if you want, you can share it in the platform and discuss if that setup indicators are useful or not. But it's up to you what you will discuss.
I have a question, and as far as I understood, BEEP is a platform.
Yes, BEEP is a project. And the BEEP portal is a platform where you can share the results and other documents within BEEP.
And is there a kind of forum or a discussion?
Yeah, there is. It's below the documents. There are some forums in each topic. Stefan, could you click on some topic? For example, the preparedness for implementation. The first one. So below the documents, there are some discussion forum, and as you can see, you can also click on subscribe to comments. So if you click on it, you have information if anybody else discuss with you in this forum. And the discussions forums are also in the below each document. So Stefan, please click on any document. You can go to the topics and there click on the document. Okay. So for example, the first one. And click on the document. Yes, doesn't matter which one. And below each document, there is also the discussion forum. So you can discuss also below each document. For example, if it is draft comparison, you can discuss what do you think about it, and would you like to say something more, or add something, or change something, whatever you want.
And are you planning a kind of report each year about the activities? I mean, about BEEP, or it will be just a platform with documents, or it could be a kind of results?
We use the results of the BEEP platform in our audits, for example. So, for example, the topic of immovable property, it was topics where we performed an audit, and we used the information from different countries. And in our audit report, there was some annex, which we have, okay, this is the international comparisons, and we try to combine the BEEP results with our findings and related it to the audit recommendations. So say, for example, because in the Great Britain, they have set goals and they monitor and evaluate what they set. And in Czech Republic not, we would like to say that audit recommendation is to set up goals and monitor and evaluate.
Okay. Any other? Oh, yeah. Welcome.
Thank you for your valuable presentation. I think BEEP is very important for SAIs, but I have a question about, have you developed this software by yourself, or so you can make any modification according to any requirement? And can we think about it as an encyclopedia, or we might add search engine for it so it can be useful for the user? Thank you.
It is not only our work. The previous one, Extranet, was made by my colleagues from AI Czech Republic, but this new IT platform is based on Liferay platform, which was open source, and some company will do some things for us, so we cooperate with this company. But this is secure platform, and when you join BEEP, and you will be at the first time on this portal, there are some terms of use, and you should agree, or not should, you have to agree with this terms of use, and then you can use all information what you want. But if you would like to publish something outside this portal, you should have approval of all participating sites. So it means that it is secure platform, and there are only users from SAIs, not other institutions. And if anybody wants to publish it, they should ask other SAIs. Mm-hmm.
Thanks again for your variable presentation. Is there any outcomes from this discussion with the BEEP? I mean, do you have like a conclusion in the end, and outcomes that you are announcing, that you are publishing, that you're enforcing for the members of SAIs?
Yeah, in some topics, there are prepared some first results. And as I mentioned on the slide, it is, for example, the centralized public procurement. Stefan, please, could you open centralized public procurement? I think it is the last one. And we prepared something like BEEP methodological guides, where we say that this is the areas of comparisons which we set up during the audit or cooperation. And here are also the results from different countries. And if you want, you can use these materials if you will perform similar audit, or you can also add something, for example, add another area of comparison to these documents. So it could be new version of this document on the BIP site. So if, as you can see, it's quite small, sorry. Yeah, it's better, thank you, Stefan. And there is the comparison of the system and also one indicator, but it is publicly available indicator. So Stefan, please go to the comparison of the system. And here you can see the table where is the comparison of Czech Republic, Slovakia, Finland, Hungary, Portugal, and Austria, where you can see some areas of comparison. For example, if there are some systems for centralized public procurement at the state level or at the sector level, and if they, for example, quantified and monitor and evaluate the benefits of centralized public procurement, and you can see the results of the comparison. And below the table, there are also some text information about it. So it is not only in our audit report, but we usually prepare also some result like this, where anybody can look at the areas of comparison and the results in one place.
Talking about the benchmarks, do you set the benchmark like it's annually benchmark and you change it every year? Is there a certain source of benchmark? Do you benchmark yourself to another countries, to another source? How you get the benchmark?
I think that now we are in the beginning of doing this, but I hope that one day we will set up the benchmarks and say that this is benchmark for this key performance indicator. But I must to say that in most of the topics we start with the comparison of the system level, because we need information about the systems before we compare the key performance indicators. So I hope that one day we will say that this is a benchmark and we think that this is benchmark because these things. But nowadays there are not so many benchmarks of key performance indicators.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Yeah. I have one question. Congratulations to your presentation. It's fantastic presentation. For me, is BIEP the database of indicators, and if we would like use these indicators, is it necessary also to explain the methodological system of these indicators? It is necessary also explain the time of using these indicators and so on. But we in Slovakia use the information from BIEP, and once more congratulations to this project.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think this is time to have a short coffee break. But before I would like to invite you to for the group photo. I think it's outside, and our colleagues from Slovakia will show us where we'll take a photo. Yes, and we'll resume the meeting at 11 o'clock in 30 minutes. Thank you.